Hello, future millionaires. This is Aztec, and this is the CSC. Yes, we'll go ahead and take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We'll go ahead and give a bullish and bearish way to play the current trend that we're looking at. We're going to go ahead and talk about the CBOE withdrawal of their EFT proposal, also the Winklevoss twins, Samsung and their phone that they may be releasing soon, and the stake pool task force and staking video that Charles Hoskinson recently posted. So in the short term, what I'm seeing here on this Bitcoin to USD 4-hour Coinbase chart is that it looks like we're kind of within this channel here, trading between $3,500 area and $3,600 area. And we seem to have bounced off the bottom of this channel, and we may be moving back up to a $3,600 area again in the short term. And you can see that in the past days here on the 23rd and also on the 22nd, we actually achieved this $3,600 area target, and we received rejection from there and moved back down. So it's definitely possible, that we're just kind of trading sideways, and it's definitely interesting that the market was not moved by the withdrawal of the VanEck SolidX ETF. But basically with us not really seeing any movement there, we can almost see that we're just going to possibly trade sideways for a couple more days unless something else comes into the picture. Now, to go ahead and take a look at our indicators, let's go ahead and just take a look at the RSI. It is pointing upward. That's kind of interesting, and we are sitting at 50 RSI, and that's really extremely neutral, so there's not very much that I can do with that, guys. Also, we have our MACD, and let's go ahead and just pull this up here. Now, what is interesting about this 4-hour chart is that we can see that we crossed above and over the orange line, crossed above the red line on the 22nd, just a couple days ago. And then here recently today, we actually bounced, kind of like a bounce off of the trend line here, and we're moving upward again. So the MACD looks pretty decent. You can see that on this histogram, we're still showing buying pressure. So if we go back to the chart here, let's see, go ahead and pull these indicators down. Looks like I have a little lag. All right, these indicators kind of, with the RSI showing 50 being very neutral, and the MACD kind of showing that there's buying pressure and that we're moving upward. Also that we're currently breaking past the EMAs. These EMAs, guys, I use the quad EMA, so I use the 20, the 50, the 100, and the 200-day moving average. These moving averages have been very significant in this kind of sideways chop that we've been seeing for the past week or so, and we're kind of breaking above this 20-day moving average currently, and with the indicators showing as they are, again, basically we could be moving up again to this $3,610 area that we've met the past couple days. And I think that with the market really just kind of looking for where it should be, not really having the greatest, it's not very decisive. It's kind of just in an area of indecision. So that could, generally speaking, could kind of manifest itself as just moving sideways. So now to play this the bearish way, you could set a stop loss. Again, this is not very different from my last video, beneath this very significant line at 3,485, so you could set it below here, because if we break down below this area, we could move down to the $3,400 area. But generally speaking, if I was to start a short, I probably wouldn't start that short unless it was under the $3,400 area, to be honest. It's just my opinion, because we've been respecting this downward sloping trend line here, right here. So it's kind of like a descending channel that we're in. That's the overall that I'm seeing, and you can see that we have touches in this overall larger channel. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches within this channel. So it's very possible that if you were looking to actually short, that you may want to place a short under, start a short under $3,400 area, possibly tether up, because if we go below this area, I would suspect that we would maybe even get like start heading down lower for like a double bottom at $3,136, slowly move down again. So anyways, that's kind of like the bearish overview, but in the short term, it does look like we're kind of moving back up to this $3,600 area. And really you could just stay in your position, and if we keep moving sideways like this and within this smaller channel, this could be a really nice setup to go ahead and continually, every time we come up to this $3,600 area, you could sell your position in whatever altcoin you're in. If we're not seeing that we're looking to break above this area, every time we meet this area and it looks like we're starting to be rejected again, you could sell your altcoin and buy back in whenever Bitcoin's back down around this area, if we're looking like we're going to bounce, if indicators look good. So, in these kind of areas of indecision in the market, sometimes you actually just see real, just slight movements, and that's kind of like a real easy area to swing altcoins and make, a couple $100 worth of altcoins daily. And the last time we kind of had this really easy area to accumulate altcoins was, here, let's see if I can get my computer to work with me. It was back up here when we were above 6,000, and this kind of like sideways chop here and over here, there wasn't very large movements, but you could, we were kind of trading within these lines here, and that was another area where we could do what we're possibly currently looking to do again. So there's that. That's another setup you could do. And if we start breaking above this line, you could see that we might not really receive major resistance until the $3,680 area. So those are the bullish kind of ways to look at it. And what is interesting overall is definitely the fact that we wicked very hard off the bottom of this descending channel here. This this yellow line and this yellow line, this is the channel I'm talking about now. We wicked very hard off the bottom of it, and as you can see, we have we started here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've kind of been on the bottom of this channel here. And what would be significant is that we, have like an ultimate target back at around $3,900 area again, to truly like move up here. But again, there really isn't very much positive sentiment in this market. The only way I could really see us move like that is if we, get some bullish kind of event-driven type news that comes out from Bakkt, suggesting that they're going to come out very soon, or more clarification on the ETFs, things like that. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the news. I haven't really gone over the news in a while, And this is definitely a very interesting piece of news. This is an article from CCN, and it says why Bitcoin price barely moved following CBOE's withdrawal of ETF proposal. And I'm actually just going to kind of read through this because it's definitely, they make some decent points here. Now, we can go ahead and just start from here. It says, by ccn.com on January 23rd, the Chicago Board Options Exchange and VanEck officially withdrew their Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund, the ETF, proposal ahead of its February deadline. Analysts expected a decline in the Bitcoin price following the withdrawal, given that the CBOE/VanEck Bitcoin ETF was arguably the most highly anticipated proposal to date. Now it says no visible impact on the Bitcoin price. On CNBC's ETF Edge, VanEck CEO Jan VanEck stated that the shutdown of the U.S. government forced the institution to pull out its proposal. The lack of personnel at the commission prevented the continuation of discussions on various aspects of the ETF filing. So, I mean, basically they this was like that last month where they had kind of time to keep working with the SEC and try to hash things out and possibly push for the ETF's approval. And with the shutdown, being they don't really have those opportunities. So that posed a problem. Now it says we were engaged in discussion with the SEC about the Bitcoin related issues, custody, market manipulation, prices, and that had to stop. And so instead of trying to slip through or something, we just had the application pulled and we will refile when the SEC gets going again, VanEck said. So this is definitely positive in a way, because even though they're revoking their request, they're saying that as soon as the government shutdown stops and everything, they're going to go ahead and resubmit. Now, it's kind of good news, bad news, because yes, they're still interested, they're still moving forward, they want to move forward, but that means that there's a whole long process that they can go through again before we see an ETF approval. I believe it's like 240 days. So down here it says Alex Kruger, a cryptocurrency analyst and economist, stated in an interview with CCN that the lack of movement in crypto markets in the aftermath of the ETF proposal withdrawal either means that not enough investors care about the Bitcoin ETF proposal, or key players in the market are yet to process the news. Personally, guys, the key players in the the market, they already kind of know things before things happen. So I don't really think that they're lagging behind the retail investors. So I don't agree with that there. Now, I do agree that the general retail investor, if you just go on any social media like Twitter, what have you, and you look at your general retail investors' comments, they're all negative towards the ETF. They don't care, they don't want it. Generally speaking, a lot of people don't really care. Now, I think everyone knows that it will bring added capital to the market cap of crypto, but they know that's kind of like a deal with the devil. So with it being denied, I've seen a lot of talks of people being actually happy about that. So anyways, that's just kind of like my 2 cents on that. And of course, there's some speculation here. It says don't expect a Bitcoin ETF in 2019. It says historically, as with any other ETF proposal, the SEC has tended to wait for the final deadline to approve an ETF. The Commission does not have any incentive to rush the process of accepting an ETF proposal prior to the last deadline. VanEck is set to file a new application upon the termination of the U.S. government shutdown, and it will reset the application's deadline to 240 days after the initial submission. Yep. So I was looking for this confirmation here. So I mean, technically, we don't even know when the shutdown is going to end, and Trump did say that he may leave the shutdown closed for months to years. So I don't believe it's really going to be that much longer. But what I'm getting at is that there could be several months before the shutdown ends, and then on top of that, then you have the resubmission of the ETF proposal, and then 240 days after that. So this may not really start shaping up until 2020. So that's important to know. And down here, this was the tweet, kind of like the proof. It says the Bitcoin ETF filing has been temporarily withdrawn. We are actively working with regulators and major market participants to build appropriate market structure frameworks for a Bitcoin ETF and digital assets in general. We'll keep you updated. Now, this was what was most important to me, and this kind of is a nice segue into the next article here. This article is from CoinGape, and it says, unlike CBOE's pulling off ETF, Winklevoss brothers are ready with a plan for Bitcoin ETF approval. And this is actually old news, but it is important because here it says, Winklevoss twins all set with plan. While in a heat of government shutdown, CBOE is pulling off its long-awaited Bitcoin ETF application. On the other hand, Gemini's twin brothers have outlined the plan to get their ETF approval, resources reported Mr. Winklevoss. So this is what they said. The quick answer is by answering their call and requesting more market surveillance on the crypto marketplace. We've started to do that with the Virtual Commodity Association. I would look this up, guys, and I don't have time to get into this Virtual Commodity Association that they've created with others, but this is very interesting. And to continue, they say, and by bringing NASDAQ's smartest technology to our marketplace, those are the steps in the right direction to getting regulators comfortable with eventually approving an ETF-like product. So I think it's also extremely important to note that the ETF probably isn't going to be approved until we get until the institutions have more data and more control of the market. That's probably with investments and holding power, and also data and regulation. So regulation really can't happen until we have more data. And here's the Winklevoss twins looking to move the smartest technology from NASDAQ, their tracking systems and things like that, to gather data. And this is something that's really important, that it needs to happen before an ETF like product can happen. So anyways, in other news, this is an article from Crypto Globe, and it says Samsung Galaxy S10 leak shows built-in cryptocurrency wallet. This is kind of this is kind of just speculation really at this time, but supposedly people are starting to come out and say that this leak is got some legs and could possibly be true. And there were some other articles that I was reading through that showed some source code and things like that. But just to kind of go over the general article and give you guys the news, it says recently leaked images of Samsung's upcoming flagship smartphone model, the Galaxy S10, appear to show the device will come with a built-in cryptocurrency wallet called the Samsung Blockchain Key Store app. In the leak, the app directly names Ethereum and claims it's a secure and convenient place for your cryptocurrency. Users will be able to import their wallet and use biometric authentication for security. So this is kind of this is interesting to me because this kind of shows that whole adoption thing that's going on right now, and with Galaxy picking up crypto, possibly, this is definitely it's very good fundamental. And you can see here it says, as covered, however, Samsung has back in July of last year made it clear it has been paying attention to the cryptocurrency space, as it noted through a blog post that smartphones are the safest devices to store cryptocurrency. The Galaxy S10 is set to be revealed during Samsung's Unpacked event on February 20th, where the company is also set to show off a functional version of its new foldable smartphone. Notably, the S10 wouldn't be the first phone with a built-in cryptocurrency wallet. So it's really important to know that Sirin Labs Finny was launched back in November, and the HT Exodus 1 is also now available for purchase with cryptocurrency only. So it's not the first phone to come out, but it is very interesting to see Samsung trying to join the fray, and definitely a good fundamental. Now, on to other news here. This is definitely something I just wanted to at least mention. This is a video that Charles Hoskinson made just recently, and it says in title, Stake Pool, Taskforce, and Staking. So basically, Charles Hoskinson is trying to develop a task force, kind of like a group of people that are going to help with education, to basically create literature, pictures, and things to help educate the community on how staking will happen and how you can stake, and basically make it easy for your average person to start staking once Shelly and everything's released. Now, in this video, he also says that you can sign up for this task force. So I want to go ahead and show you. I mean, I'll go ahead and link the video down below, and on this video, if you go to the description area right below the video, it says here is the registration link, and I'll actually show you the application. It's super simple. If you have any skills with graphics, and if you think you can make things, you can simplify things and things of that nature, I would definitely say go ahead and look into being a part of this work group, as they say here. It says Cardano Stake Pool Best Practice Work Group Volunteer. It says if you would like to volunteer for the stake pool, please enter your information below. So also to note, this application is also for people that are interested in being ahead of a stake pool. So both being a part of this task force, you can either be part of education, or even part of holding the stake pool, and this would be the area that you would want to go to kind of get involved. So all they're asking for is an email address, your first and last name, and notes. You could probably in the notes area describe what you're interested in, and then all you do is submit, and it is through reCAPTCHA, which is I've used this site to process applications and documents in the past. It's a very easy to use. So that's all it is. It's just one page here, and I would definitely encourage everyone to get involved. I mean, even if you're just interested in kind of seeing some behind the scenes, this is Charles Hoskinson giving us, the community, some power and ability to be empowered and help our fellow members get behind the scenes and start working on this whole decentralized idea of Cardano. So yeah, guys, I hope you like the news articles here. Some interesting news, definitely interesting things going on in the market. Fundamentally, events. There's some interesting events that may happen in the near future or may not happen. But in general, I mean, price-wise, I know a lot of people in the Cardano trading channel are suspecting like this double bottom to happen now. And I understand that the reason they believe that is because, we just had this ETF, kind of rejection, or, they're essentially they just pulled the application. But, I really believe this has kind of already been priced in, and the people like the Wells and the institutions, the people that have a lot of cryptocurrency, they aren't really going to sell and move the market because they already kind of knew this was going to happen. So, we're not really seeing any movement until there's further clarification on what's going to happen with BACT, what's going to happen with the government shutdown and things of that nature. So I wouldn't necessarily say we're going to break down, just yet, but we could fall hard, if that further clarification is, very negative. But there's also a good possibility that we receive some really good news, in the short term or mid term. But yeah, and until that clarification happens, I guess my opinion is just more sideways chop, up and down. This price movement is not huge. I mean, the past since this big drop here on let's see, on the 19th of January. I mean, this is just sideways chop, guys. We've been kind of holding this area here, and this is like an area between 3,400 and 3,750. It's not a very big area. This is just sideways chop. So until we get further clarification, I suspect that we just kind of respect basic TA, and that the market would respect just basic TA, and that we would just move sideways. So anyways, guys, look out for more videos soon. Like and subscribe for more, and never give up on the future of money. Take it easy.